Well, joining me live now is the Minister for Resources and Water, Keith Pitt. Keith, good to see you. So the Prime Minister's back in town to try and sort out some climate policy. He obviously needs the Nats on board, though. So first of all, are you on board? Are the Nats on board?
Pete, great to be with you. Well, firstly, we don't have a proposal, so it's fairly difficult to be able to give you a definitive answer on that. We wait to see what's been put forward. But once again, I don't think anyone should be surprised that the Nationals are standing up for regional Australia and the jobs that are provided into those regions by the resources sector, by agriculture and others. Every hairdresser, butcher, baker and candlestick maker relies on those big projects and those big drivers of the economy to make sure they stay employed.
Do you back a net zero target?
Well, once again, the government's policy is that we will meet our target at 2030. We agreed to the Paris Agreement. We are on track to meet and beat that. We have reduced our emissions by 20%, and we're going pretty well.
But net zero by 2050, do you support that? Do you back that?
Well, once again, that's not currently the policy of the government. So I support the government's position. We are having a discussion about what that might change or potentially change to. The Nationals have a broad range of views. We're not like the Labor Party, mate.
So
we don't have a union organiser come and tell us how to vote.
What would appease you? What needs to be part of the deal?
Well, once again, we haven't seen a proposal. So once the proposal's put forward, my colleagues will have a discussion. They'll all have their views. And as I've said, we're not like the Labor Party where somebody else tells us how to vote, what to say, how to think, or otherwise we get disendorsed.
Yeah, but you support cleaner energy and lower emissions technologies?
Oh, of course I support looking after the environment. It's pretty much a fundamental. But technology continues to change. We'll utilise those technologies as they change. And we need to get some facts back into this debate. I mean, 95% of the world's thermal coal production doesn't come from Australia. It's from elsewhere. I mean, the US is almost twice what we produce. China is in the billions of tonnes. And yet there are individuals out there who expect us to throw our industry under a bus.
But the National Farmers Federation are on board. Meat and Livestock Australia's on board. Then you've got key mining companies such as BHP. Twiggy's on board. Are you in danger of being left behind, Keith?
Well, I think we need to be very clear. The NFF has a lot of caveats around their proposal, and I can guarantee you all their members don't agree with that position. I've had a number of discussions, not only across industry and agriculture and resources, with many others who are very, very concerned. Because, well, what's next? If you want to rub out our coal sector, our offshore oil and gas, do you then move to cattle because it's a big producer of methane? We know the Greens want to close the whole industry down. If you want this experience, it's pretty straightforward. Walk outside, turn off the switchboard, the main switch in your power board, and you can have the full experience of life without coal in terms of Australia's generating capacity.
Is Twiggy wrong?
Oh, well, look, Mr Forrest's entitled to his view. He's certainly got plenty of money to back it up and he can advance whatever he wishes to. But this is about the Australian people, the Australian government, the decisions that are in their interest, and that's what we intend to do.
You talk about that you don't want, and Barnaby Joyce has mentioned this too, that you don't want to have any economic issues that affect those regional areas. But I was talking to Josh Frydenberg, the Treasurer, on this program last week, and he mentioned, well, if we don't sign up to net zero by 2050, then there could be trade consequences coming out of the EU. So would you be worried about that as well?
Well, we expect our trading partners to meet their WTO obligations. You can't simply put a tariff on someone because you think it's a nice thing to do. And we expect them to meet the letter and the law of the agreements that they sign.
So could there be trade blowback, though?
Well, once again, I mean, if you're talking about a carbon tariff, well, we yet to see that. And as I've said, 95% of the world's thermal coal production is elsewhere.
But it's also foreign.
It's up to them.
Also foreign investment here in Australia too.
Well, that continues to flow into our country.
So you're not worried about that being wound back?
Well, as I was about to say, I'm very concerned about what Australian banks are doing to legitimate, legal, lawful Australian businesses. I mean, I was up in the north last week. A mortgage broker up there tells me he's now having trouble securing finance for someone that provides fleets of vehicles and trucks into a met coal mine. I mean, we're making steel. I mean, what sort of nonsense is this? So the government of the day dictates Australia's domestic policy. It shouldn't be set by financiers, superannuation funds and banks. And we'll continue to support our lawful businesses because what's next? Will it be a crackdown on pubs? Will they want to knock out alcohol production? I mean, seriously.
How divided are the Nats on climate change policy?
Well, what I can say is when we unify on an individual issue or on a matter, we're the strongest force in the parliament. And once again, my colleagues are entitled to their view. We're a democratic party. Those views get put forward. We don't get told by someone else what we should think, and we don't have factions. Everyone sticks up for their local region, and that's why they have people vote for them to send them to Canberra.
Darren Chester says there's been a failure in the Nats leadership. What do you make of his comments yesterday?
Oh, look, Darren's a very good local member. I get it. I mean, I was sacked with him in 2017. I was half sacked a few months ago. And Darren will continue to be a very strong member for his local region. He's going through those challenges, and he's made a statement yesterday. I'm yet to speak to him personally, and I'll make sure I do that before I run any commentary, Pete. But once again, he's a strong member of the Nationals team. He's a good performer, and he's got a contribution to make. And
just finally, Keith, the Queensland Premier, let's go to Queensland now. She and her deputy, for that matter, are threatening to keep the border closed even beyond 80% double vaccination rate, even though Queensland is lagging behind when it comes to that at the moment. But what do you make of that position?
Well, Premier Palaszczuk wants to cancel Christmas because they can't manage to run out the vaccination program. Queensland's behind simply because of what the Queensland Premier and, of course, their ministry have decided. Now, Queensland's the most wonderful state in Australia. We love them all equally, but Queensland's got a special place for me. And I expect, as the PM has said, we want people to be able to spend Christmas with their families. Enough's enough, and if it's not now, then when?
She has support from a lot of Queenslanders, though. They just don't want the virus in Queensland. I mean, is that fair enough?
Well, this is not something that can stay away forever. It's almost 2 years now since the outbreak first started. We have spent a significant amount of the taxpayers' funds getting ready and being prepared and buying time. We've set the national plan. The premiers have agreed. We expect them to actually deliver on those commitments. And once again, if it's not now, we'll when.
Keith Pitt, good to chat. Talk to you soon.